Hola, hola, amigas. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. Today's episode is special because it is my friend Kimberly Katherine, interviewing me on her podcast, The Lightkeeper's Path. And she interviewed me and wanted to talk about my spiritual awakening. She wanted me to share my story and how I came to do what I do. So it's interesting. I know I've shared my story on the podcast before, but something new and different comes out each time I share it with somebody else, or especially if I'm being interviewed by somebody else. And there's questions that I don't think about on my own to share. And so this was what made this one a little special. So I hope you enjoy it today and get to know me a little bit more. And yeah, let me know what you think.
I am so excited to have you here. Oh my gosh. Sonia and I met in mediumship circle through Jessica Rachel. Oh my gosh, about a little over a year ago, right?
I don't know why I want to say 2 years, but
I
maybe
know.
I think it's 2 years.
Yeah. Is it two? Oh my gosh. I don't even know.
It might be two.
Life is going so fast. I can't, and I'm
Yes.
really feeling this fire horse leading up to it.
Oh my
Are
gosh.
you too?
Yes, I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. You and said we're about to meet for dinner. This-
I want to hear the
Yeah.
recap because
Yeah. Oh,
I'm so glad to be out of eclipses season, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm already riding this horse and it's
oh, we
not
are.
even the date yet.
Yeah, yes, we
I'm buckle up,
yes, we are.
right?
And
Tell me,
as soon as we get out of Mercury and retrograde, I will be much happier.
everybody.
It has just been quite the doozy this time.
It has. I think it
Okay.
ends in about 24 hours.
Okay, thank God. I'm thinking, I'm like Saturday, Saturday,
Yes,
Saturday.
I know, I know. Well, by the time this gets uploaded and all that, everybody, you'll be out of it
Yes,
completely. You'll be in the good vibes, but
in the clear.
we will be in the clear. And thank you for coming. I am so glad you're here. We're going to talk everything spiritual awakening, how you got to where you are, and all that fun stuff. And I did actually, before we even get into that, I just want to ask you first, Sonia, can you just tell us a little bit, just a brief overview? Where did you grow up?
Ooh.
And siblings and any kind of relationship, and anything like maybe when you were a child, did you kind of go, wow, I'm just a little sensitive, or I really resonate to the moon or soil, or any kind of woo touchy that, and then maybe at age 7 or 8, you squished it down into the ground. I don't know.
Oh, hey. Oh my gosh, this is so. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for having me. It's always
absolutely.
so fun being in your energy and being around you and doing all the things and working together and channeling together and all the fun stuff. So thank you. This is, I feel
Absolutely.
like it's such a natural, I feel, coming together. So
Mm,
thank you for inviting me.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I grew up in LA County, Los
Mhm.
Angeles County, born and lived my first years of my life there as a first generation Mexican American. My parents were immigrants from
Mhm.
Mexico. And I am the eldest daughter of immigrant parents, which brings
Ooh.
a whole other set of craziness. But
Yeah.
I'm the eldest daughter, and I have two younger brothers and a younger sister.
Mm.
And yeah, kind of grew up in LA for about 8 years, and moved inland for a couple years, and then we moved to Mexico City
Oh,
for
wow.
5 years. That's where my dad's family was at. So we moved to Mexico City for 5 years. So my teenage years, 10 to 15, I was in Mexico City. So that was quite the culture shock. And then we came back. So then it was culture shock all over again.
Oh my God.
At the age of 15. Uh, see, my father is no longer with us. My mother is. She's going to be 80 next year. And I have two sons. Two
Mhm.
sons, 28-ish or 9, I can't remember. I'm 24. I'm an empty nester, and I have a very lovely and caring boyfriend.
Mm.
It's just amazing. I just he just treats me so well, and I'm just so lucky, so lucky.
Wow.
He spoils me. So
That is so beautiful.
it's
Is yeah. Is he also have parents that were immigrants?
no, no,
Oh.
no. His parents were born here.
Mhm.
His grandparents were immigrants.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a, he also grew up in LA,
Mhm.
but it's a different experience when
Yeah.
you're first generation and when you're, so it's different experience, and it's really interesting. It's very, very interesting. Oof, that's a good podcast episode thinking
It
about.
is. It is. Definitely, because you relate to the world differently. And,
Yeah,
I didn't really
very
know
different.
that coming back. I mean, you went to Mexico City first
Mhm,
time, lived,
mhm.
probably, I mean, you probably kind of understood Spanish,
Oh yeah, yeah. I knew
but English,
Spanish.
was like, hey, I'm doing English, and then you go there
Yeah,
and everything's Spanish.
yeah.
And it's just different.
It's very
Oh,
different. Very, very different. I mean, Spanish was my first language, but I learned English very early on in kindergarten. So I'm fluent in both, in
yes.
speaking, reading, writing, all of it.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's interesting. So as far as sensitivity, I was always very emotional,
Mm.
very, very deep and very heavy. And I feel that as a child, I always kind of knew what was
Mhm.
kind of happening, like without people really saying it. You kind of feel the energy. Now I know.
Yeah.
But I felt like I always kind of knew. But then when I would ask questions, it'd be like, oh, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Like, it's like, okay, what's going on with this and what's going on with
Yeah.
that? Like, oh, no, no. I was like, oh, I know something's
Yeah.
happening. And then I would just kind of, I was thinking about this the other day. I kind of have always felt that there's been a presence around
Mm.
me. And I felt that always at a very young age. And I always felt like there was a presence always kind of sitting in the corner of my room
Oh, wow.
or always like around me, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't really, I may have asked my mom at one time or
Oh,
told
wow.
her, and she was just like, oh, you're just scared. You're probably just imagining monsters or, something like that. And so it was always like, oh, that's scary. It's like, we
Mm.
can't talk about this. It's good. So that can't be good. And so I just kind of I always have felt like if I'm walking down the hallway in my own home or at night, there's always a presence. At night, even now, when I wake up in the middle of the night to
Same.
get up, I still feel that there's a presence. And now that I know better, I just feel like it's a spirit guide.
Yeah, I
I
was
just feel
gonna
like it's a spirit guide, or I just feel like it's a spirit guide that's just there. But sometimes that feeling of that child's fearness will come up. It's like, oh,
Mm.
I'm like, okay, we're
Yeah.
good. We're good.
Yeah.
Um, so that I remember that very clearly as
Mhm.
I never saw anything. I don't really see things. I just kind of feel, I know, I'm claircognizant, so I just kind
Mhm.
of know things, and goes that totally explains why in my upbringing at home, I kind of just always knew things were kind of happening, but
Yeah.
nobody would tell me because I was a
Right.
child. Bad things, but just things, just life,
Mhm.
like what's happening with the family. Like I just kind of always felt like I knew, and they were just kind of didn't want to talk to me about it because I was a child. They're probably
Yeah.
thinking, "I don't need to be in this conversation."
Yeah.
Anyhow, and then I just didn't really have many experiences like that. The only other thing that I really remember is when I was in high school, just really wanting to communicate with the others, and I did. I did. I don't know why I didn't think that I could just go to the library and start looking for esoteric books. But I just felt like it was so taboo and so like out of this world that like there's no way there's gonna be a book in the library about this. Now
It's everywhere.
I wish I would have gone and like kind of researched a little bit because I would have found plenty of books uh, from like Neville Goddard and these other Neil Donald Walsh. And, I would have
Mhm.
found those books a lot earlier. It is what it is. I needed to go through my experience. Now I know.
And it's
Now
all
I know.
It's all divine timing too.
100%.
And maybe the books that would have been out there might have been a little too intense and too scary at the moment. So it's all divine timing.
Yeah,
But
it's all divine time.
it is. So going back to Mexico City, I've been to Mexico several times. It's been a minute since I've been there. But Mexico City, because Mexico, there's a lot of heavy spirituality there. I mean, really deep rooted. Is Mexico City, there's probably a fair amount there too, right? Or
Yes.
right? And it's kind of like I get this visual that it's like an undercurrent. It's an undercurrent. It's almost kind of like clay and it's there and everybody knows it, but they don't really talk about it. Maybe they do.
Well,
Because you
there's a lot of archaeological.
yes,
I don't even know the right word, but there's a lot of stuff that's still being uncovered
covered.
underneath
Yes.
buildings and
Mm-hmm.
rubble. There's like a whole Aztec and there's ancient ruins and communities that are underneath the land. And so that they're constantly finding more and more and more. There's got to be a lot of spirits. And we actually did have a lot of experiences in our house, and
Did you? Oh
a
wow.
lot of unexplained or real. Only thing I can call it is ghosts to me.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Yeah.
it was scary.
Oh,
And it
jeez.
wasn't like the presence that I feel, and now speaking to my spirit guides, it wasn't like that. And maybe it wasn't because I was young and I didn't know that there was such thing as spirit guides that weren't meaning any harm on us.
Right.
I just chalked it up to ghosts are bad because that's
Mm.
in the movies. No, there
Yeah.
was nobody to talk to about these things. And then when I would tell my mom I heard these things, I heard these noises. Oh no, no, you're just imagining. And I would hear noise. It was a two-story house, but every two-story house, every house kind of has like a top floor, like a rooftop kind of, where you might have like a small house where like housekeeping lives or sleeps, or in the when they where they do laundry and stuff like that. So we had like that floor, and so I'm sleeping on the second floor, and I would always hear at night like somebody dragging chains.
Oh.
It's, yes, somebody was dragging some really heavy chains. Like I would hear them like, what is there? It
Yeah.
just and it would go on and on and on for a while. What is that? And then I remember I told my mom, and she's like, "Oh no, you're just imagining, you're dreaming." And so I was like, "Okay."
It's a bad dream.
So I know. So it's a really bad dream that goes
Yeah.
on every night.
Yeah.
But then I would sometimes hear or feel like somebody was trying to open the door, my door to my bedroom at night. Like I could hear it and I can see it jiggling. And I would be so scared to get up. And I was like, it must be my brother. He's playing a prank with me. And I was so scared to find out that I just would never go out of bed to like check. One day I decided, okay, I'm gonna get up and just bust. I opened the door and there's nobody there. And so I'm
Mm.
like, closed the door, ran in bed, pulled the covers all the way up. And that's how I slept every night after that. The covers all the way up to my head because I could hear it, I could see it, and it
What were
clearly
you, 14? How old were you? 13?
I was at that time between 13 and 15.
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I think there was definitely some spirits there, and I just never really talked about it with my brother. I think I may have asked him at the time, "Are you pranking me? Are you doing this?" And he's like, "No, no."
No.
But now, as adults, we spoke about it a few years back, and I said, "I used to hear these things out like that," and my brother's like, "I did too."
Oh,
I heard the
he did
I was
too.
like, "What? Why didn't you say anything?" He's because I told mom, and she said I was going crazy, and she said no, and I was like, "She told me the same thing. Like we should have talked."
Oh my gosh. Well, this is so funny because I don't even know. My first question, I wanted to know a little history, but can you share a little bit about your spiritual awakening journey and the
Yeah.
experiences that first opened you up to your intuitive gifts? And it might have been then when you were between
Well,
13 and 15.
well, it wasn't. To
Oh,
me, all of that was still, this is scary. There's a ghost, and ghosts
right.
are bad. That was always unexplained to me, and I just never. That wasn't it for me. So I feel like my spiritual awakening came in chapters.
Oh,
I
I
feel
like
like I
that.
kept being pushed to kind of wake up.
Huh?
And the first kind of minor kind of spiritual awakening that I had, I don't even know that that would call it a spiritual awakening, but it was definitely a moment when I was like, oh, wow. It was when I was it was towards the end of my marriage. And I
Mm.
just remember the one day when I decided in my body and in my soul I want divorce,
Mm.
that to him. I clearly remember where we were at. We were in the kitchen. I can't do this anymore. I think we should get divorced.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, like we'll do this, I'll do that, and the whole thing, and blah blah blah. And I just remember this out of body experience. I remember myself lifting my body, and I remember kind of sitting up above the cabinet and just watching myself and watching and what he was telling me. I remember then telling myself up in the top, oh, that would be you would be so stupid. What a stupid girl if you're going to believe him.
Oh.
What a stupid girl if you're going to just think that this is going to change. And I just snapped right back into my body and I said, this is it. And there was no going back. That was it. And so that was the first time that I ever experienced something so profound, I felt to me, but I
Mhm.
didn't know what to call it. What I didn't explore it any further. It just was something that was really deep inside of me because after that it was really tough for me.
Mm.
I went through a not really deep depression, but I went through a depression period
Mhm.
after that, and it was really really tough becoming a single mom. I think I was 35 at the time. So that was kind of like I felt like my first kind of experience with something a little bit body, different.
Yeah.
And then I would say the next one was what led to the breakup of my next long-term relationship. I was living with a partner and we had blended our families, his son, my two sons, and I think from that came my true spiritual awakening. The reason why we broke up was some health issues with one of my sons, and he just wanted no part. And
Oh.
so he's like, "Your son needs to," and I was like, "No, no, no, I'm going with him."
Mhm.
It wasn't like, "Oh, no, can he stay?" No,
Mhm.
no, no. I was like, "Okay, we will go. We'll pack our stuff. We're leaving," because rightfully so, it was his house. And so he's like, "Oh, no, no, you don't have to leave just your son." I said, "Oh no, honey, you don't understand. I'm going with him. I'm going to help him through this. I would do the same for you. I would do the same for your son. So the fact that you're even telling me this." Anyways, we left. And that was truly the spiritual awakening journey. It
Wow.
was everything came from helping nurturing my son back to health. Everything we went through, all the struggles, it just was this unraveling of all Western medicine had to offer. Not that Western medicine isn't helpful, it definitely helped on the surface to get us to an even to a level space. But then beneath what really helped us through that time period was energy healing and
Mm.
was meditation, and it was more of these kind of esoteric type practices.
Mhm.
That's where I just started diving deep into what is this energy healing thing. I saw a friend was doing energy healing on my son, a client actually. She was a podcast host and I was a producer. And she's like, let me do an energy healing on him. And she would do an energy healing on him. And I was like I saw the fastest, quickest reaction, benefit, positive, turn when he would have those quickest, when he would have the energy healings. And then she would do them on me too to like help me with my
Yeah.
anxiety and stay even keeled. And there was only so much I could pay for. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to get certified. I'm going to learn how to do this so I can help my son. And that just unraveled
What
a whole.
what type of healing is it, Sonia?
Went and got certified in
Pranic healing.
pranic.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
So pranic healing, it is created by Master Choa Koksui, and it is a there's kind of these the idea is that energy cannot flow through the body freely when there's negative energies or there's a bottle stale energy or there's cracks in your energetic aura. So the idea is that you clean the negative energy of the body, you heal you cure any blocks, any holes in your aura, cracks and things of that nature, and then you put divine energy back into the
Oh,
body.
that's amazing.
So that the energy can flow freely, so that the chakras can flow freely, so everything is cleansed. When we don't do that, then that's when physical ailments come in, right? When we have energetic blocks, let's say around the neck, this area, we're gonna feel it it's gonna be first in the aura. And then we're gonna start experiencing it with like emotional struggles or mental health struggles, and then it's going to seep into the body. So by the time we actually feel pain, it's already been in our energy field for a while
Yeah.
because it takes time to get into the physical body. So I just started learning how to clear the negative energy, entities,
Mm.
elementals, negative energy thoughts, thought forms, all of that stuff from the body. And so I did the initial basic training, and then I did the advanced training, and then I learned to do chronic psychotherapy, and that
Ooh,
was
wow.
awesome.
That
That
sounds
was
amazing.
magic. He would walk out of that room a different person the next day. And
And
that's
he
the
and he
thing.
was he was open to this also.
He was not. I
Tell us, because I know
He
people.
was underage, and I knew that if he was in his right mind, that he would accept the help. But in that moment, he was in such a bad spot that he was just like, he would just didn't want anything. He didn't want anything. He didn't want to go to therapy. He didn't want to go to counseling. It was a struggle. But I knew that if he was well and in his right mind, if you will, that he would be willing to accept help to make him feel better. And
Yeah.
so I took it upon myself with permission of his higher soul to work on his energy.
Hmm.
He had no clue I was doing it. He
So
had
just to kind of, I'm just gonna. I hate to interrupt, but just for our listeners, tell us when we do a healing, because I'm a healer also. Um, the person will accept it because we ask their higher self. So maybe you can just, just in 30 seconds, just tell our listeners how that works.
Mhm.
Because people who don't know, they might think, oh, this is voodoo, this is not good, this is not. But it's actually, we do ask the person at their highest conscious self. So maybe just tell us a little bit. So how
Well,
you were able to do this to your.
when I do it now, um, when I do it now, I call in their higher self,
Right.
and I say, I'd like to do this energy healing. Do I have permission to do this energy healing for this and this purpose? And then, if I feel like a strong shutdown in my body, then it's a no. If it
Yeah.
feels like expansive, or I get tingles in my body, or I get a lot of like tingles on my hands, or like people like they're like screaming my yes, please, then I move forward. So I do that now with adults. At the time, he was also a minor,
Mm.
and I was responsible for
Hmm.
getting him to a good place.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that. We were not taught that you need to ask for permission. We were just taught if you're doing this for the highest good, of course it's accepted. You
And
know,
and 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 when you're doing it with that intention,
right,
if the person wants it, they will accept it because it's almost like an unsaid thing, and if
right,
they don't want it, and I've had healings where people don't want it, and I can tell there's no energy
right.
flowing. And I just
Well,
stop and I honor that.
and here's the thing: if their soul is not open to it, it's not going to leave.
Right. Exactly.
It's not going to work effectively.
Right.
So when there's permission and when there is receptivity, then it works much more efficiently. So if
Yeah.
his soul hadn't been open to it, he would not have had it would not have been effective.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have landed.
Wow.
So, um, So that's how that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then how long was it? So he was underage. How long was this process? Everything unraveled and then you're like, "Okay, I'm taking the reins. I'm gonna do this. How long is the training? How long was this whole until you guys got to even
Well,
level kinda
I want to say it was probably a good 2 years until I
yeah,
felt like, okay,
stable?
we're stable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a better place. I remember just having like readings with, intuitives, and they were like, this is these are the kids that are coming into this world right now. They're coming
Oh.
in to have these really big experiences. They're almost like seed stars. They're coming in to have these big experiences, and they're also going to be here to do really big things.
Mm.
So your job is just to keep him at this level for the next 5 years. From there on, he'll figure it out. But right now, he's a teenager. This is your job. Just keep him even killed. Keep him healthy.
Mhm.
Feed him. Basically, keep him alive.
Wow.
I'll just, and so that's what I did. That was all my responsibility.
Wow.
And so what I started doing is um, I started doing healings on my mentor, the gal that had been doing energy healings on me. Then she started, like, well, since you know how to do this, do them on me. And then I would do them on her. She would be like, oh my gosh, you're really powerful. You're like really, really good at this. It's like, oh, no. And that was the type of energy healing she did. So that's what I went to get trained in because I didn't know anything else. So I was like, okay, well, this is what she does and it works for us. So I'm going to go do the same thing. And um, I started doing it for other people. She had a community. She was a podcast host, so she had this big community, and we had a membership, and so we would go in, and she would tell them, so it does energy healing. So I started getting people that wanted energy healings. So people started booking with me, and what I started to find was that I would I would get these messages, and I clearly remember it was with her specifically one time. I had done an energy healing on her partner, and I just remember after getting like, oh, you should tell him this. You should tell him this. You should tell him this. Like, this is my ego speaking. Like, stop distracting me. Like, I need to pay attention to what I'm doing here. And then when I was done, then I went out for a walk, and then I kept getting this message. You need to tell him this. You need to tell him. 24 hours later, you need to tell him this. Holy God. Like, and I thought it was my imagination until 24 hours later. I'm like, this won't leave my mind. I think I have to tell him. So I sent a message. I said, listen, take this or not, but I feel like I need to tell you this. And I shared with him what it was. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is what I needed to hear.
Oh,
It resonates so well. This is exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you so much. Now I know what to do. Now I know how to move forward. And I was like, oh. And after that, that message left. So I started to get, oh, say this, say this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just getting distracted. Like, stop. It turned out these were really messages that were coming in for them.
yeah. Wow.
They were downloads from. And so once I got training with Jessica Rachel, intuitive activation, like I knew at that point something something was there, and I didn't know exactly what or how to develop it or how to trust it. So I went through her training, and she's like, you need to just start speaking what you're imagining, what you think you're imagining. You need to just start speaking it, and you're going to see that more is going to come through and more is going to come through. And then you're going to trust it because they're going to confirm. That's exactly how I developed it even further. So for me, energy healing was kind of the gateway.
Mm.
Really, I see it as me
Mm.
to my spiritual awakening. That is our journey together in this lifetime. I feel that he's really the one who awakened me because what he experienced, what we experienced through his health issues is what opened the door to all of this
Wow.
for me. And he's still, he's on to, he's fully healthy now and going on and doing his thing. And I'm starting to see how that psychic, if you will, that I met with was right. Because 5 years to the mark when she said that to me, it was a completely different person.
He's like, okay, I'm gonna go get a full-time job. Go do this. And it was like completely different. And now he's off his career.
Wow.
So
Good job, Mom. It's not easy.
it is not easy.
Especially
It
when,
is not easy.
especially when it's your own kin, right? Not easy.
The kids, it is a
Yeah.
whole different story.
Whole different
A
story.
whole different story. But
Man.
but I just feel like being on this side of things, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
now I see. Now I understand.
Yeah.
I've been went.
Yeah.
You know, like all of that makes sense. It plays a part into what I do. So
Yeah. Well, you kind of already touched on, learning to trust your intuition. But were there any moments that you can think back that kind of really go out and you're like, you doubted it? Like, am I really sensing this? Am I really receiving this? Any particular ones? And then you just go, oh, yeah, that's it. I mean, you kind of talked about it, but any others or?
more than anything is getting the confirmation, getting the validation from
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I say something and it resonates, or it is the thing, or you know, sometimes when I do an energy healing, I remember I did this energy healing for this girl once, and I was like, I don't know why I'm seeing this engagement ring. It's like floating around. And not seeing, because I don't really see. I more sense. It's like I kind of just know it's there. Occasionally, I'll a little blur
Mm-hmm.
imagination. But I said, I don't know why. I don't know why this is coming up, or if this is gonna. The answer to this is gonna be later in the healing. I'm seeing this engagement ring, and I don't know what it means, and I've already asked for clarity, and I'm getting. And then I just went on and did the rest of the healing, and this is what's coming through, and blah blah blah. And she said, "Oh yeah, well, I was supposed to get engaged this week.
Oh.
That's what the engagement." I was like, oh, no wonder it's floating out here, like it's close by.
Yeah.
It was like out here. So little things like that, when people confirm things of that nature, then I know it's feedback, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
feedback, and that's why I I like to be able to do those things in person, because then you get the validation, and that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
our little group is so helpful.
So
We'll
helpful.
channel together, because then people confirm, oh yeah, like the time I just channeling your mom, and I was like, Fancy Nancy, and you're like, oh,
You remember? Oh my gosh, you remember her, Fancy Nancy? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
it's just like little things like that. It's like, no, Sonia, because there's always a doubt that comes in.
Mm.
There's always doubt that comes in. Like, really, what's that? What's that? Or am I making that up?
Mm.
And then I'll say it, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's doing it, saying the thing, and just what's just kind of and obviously when you give messages like that, when you're intuitive and you give messages like that, you'll either get the feedback from people, right? But in my own intuition, my own life, it's doing little things like, okay, should I have an apple or should I have an orange? Like, what should I have for lunch? And like trusting that first answer that comes to me, going with that, and then analyzing that afterwards. Okay, how was that? Actually, it was really a great choice. It's like, letting that body speak to you. So making small choices like that, small little decisions like that, and then evaluating it after the fact, it helps to start building up the intuition a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Trusting yourself.
And you're so right about trusting that first answer. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's always that first.
It's always the first answer. I
It's
love that
always the first answer from
it
the
is.
heart,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yes.
immediately after that, the brain comes in.
It's
Oh,
noise.
but you're crazy. Yeah, it's the noise. It's the noise. Exactly. So it's the first answer.
Yeah.
Everything else is your mind.
Well, how did your intuitive abilities and now you're like, okay, I'm in the groove, and how did that change or shape your business, or did your business remain the same after? I guess that would have been 4 years ago that you started working with Jessica, or was it 5? Was it 2020?
2023. the end of
Okay.
2023, I started working with her. So it's been 3 years. So, okay, the way I even got to Jessica was
Coaching. Yeah.
another step. So it was early 2023. It was at the time I was a virtual assistant, podcast producer. I was online business manager, and that was it. And then I would do these energy healings kind of on the side, right? And I got this hit one day, the download. Heard this little voice say, "You're meant for more."
Mm.
And it felt like it was outside of me, but not really. But it was definitely on this side. So I don't know if it was, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was outside or inside, but I just remember looking up and going, okay, I'm ready. Show
Mm.
me.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. I didn't think I was imagining it. I just knew in my heart that my higher self was speaking to me. There was just something so pure about it, and it resonated in my heart. I
Mm.
felt it in my heart. I said, okay, I'm ready for it. And then immediately after that, within 24 to 48 hours, I saw that there was this coaching program came around, and I forget her name. I thought, oh, well, maybe I should explore that. Like something felt interesting to me about it. I thought, oh, maybe I should explore that. And the gal that was running that coaching program had told me before, several months earlier, oh, you should be a coach.
Mm.
And she planted that seed. And I just, and so when this happened several months later, and then I saw her ad, I thought, oh, I should explore this. And so she did a little webinar thing, and I went and I joined it. And I thought, oh my gosh, it sounds really exciting. Like, it sounds like maybe I want to do this. I decided to go for it. I went for it, and through the process of coaching program, these other ladies that were in the cohort had a session with Jessica Rachel.
Oh.
And Jessica Rachel told me that this business is going to be, and Jessica Rachel told me this is what my business is going to be. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have a session with Jessica Rachel. So I scheduled this session with Jessica Rachel, which was months later. And it was the first thing she said to me was, oh, I had never met this woman before. I had never met Jessica before. And she was like, oh, you're a healer. And I
Oh.
was like, oh, wait. Because at this point, I thought, okay, it's played its role. This energy thing has played its role. I'm not, I'm not open for business anymore to do these energy healings. I'm going to do this. Like, it's fine. I'll do it for myself, for my family, but I don't need to do like a thing with it. It is just a tool that I use for myself. And so she's like, oh, you're a healer. This is what you're here to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's really, is it? And so that's when, so I met Jessica, and she gave me my whole business plan with my spirit guides and this whole beautiful thing. And it was beautiful and wonderful. And at the end of our program, the coaching program, she started an intuition activation 12-week mastery program. I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. This sounds like I'm fun. Like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to do this or not. And so I decided to do it. It truly was the best decision I ever made.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what led me to Jessica Rachel, to really diving deeper into intuition and calling in spirit guides, and how to use this for everything, for myself, for helping clients. It's been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I met Indra through, and she's the one who told me about Jessica Rachel. And she told me about that 12-week program. So I was so waiting to do it. And she was pregnant, and Jessica Rachel was having her second child. Yeah, second child. And
Yeah.
she wasn't sure. And then she wasn't going to. So I ended up working with her one-on-one, which was amazing. It was great. It's like private tutoring.
Yes.
But she's really
Yeah.
amazing.
Amazing.
So you've kind of touched, but again, how do you now blend your intuition, spiritual connection, practical guidance in the work that you work with the women that you coach right now today?
Yeah, so what came from that was, I morphed more into, well, based on that coaching certification program that I took, I started coaching women, right? Just like life coaching, just all life things.
Yeah.
And Jessica Rachel was like, no, or really my spirit guides were like, no, you're supposed to blend your energy healing and your intuitive abilities into this. And really your intuitive abilities to help them kind of figure out where they are in life. But if your way of doing it at the time, the easiest way for me to connect with that intuitiveness was through energy healing. So she's like, if the avenue for you to get there is through energy healing, then use the energy healing in your sessions so that you can connect and get the intuitive message. So I started doing that. And then it was interesting because what was the people that were coming to me were more business related. Like they were coming to me for coaching, but it's like, okay, for help with their business, helping them develop their business, helping them with their lead magnets, their marketing, their helping them structure, clean up their systems and things like that. It was like that type of coaching. And then from there, and Jessica Rachel told me, you're actually going to be doing business coaching. And so then I thought, it happened like naturally. I was advertising life coaching because I was like, I'm about a business coach. I was advertising life coaching, but the people that were coming to me, the women that were coming to me, were coming specifically because they needed help with their business.
Wow.
So we started working that way. And so then I kind of switched from virtual assistant to more a business coach. But underneath the business coaching, there's always stuff, right? There's our own work that's keeping us. So then I started coaching women in business. It's both business, but then there's a personal life coaching to it as well. And
Yeah.
so the way that I work, the way that it's developed now, I do business coaching. I help women either start a soulful business. So this is more of a business that is based on their natural gifts, things that more of a soulful type of thing, selling hats, but like more of a energy healer, more of a woman who likes to uh, help people heal with flower essences, more of what's that called? The parenting, not gentle parenting, conscious parenting, like conscious
Oh.
parenting coaching. It's more of a soulful type of wellness type of jobs, businesses, if you will.
Mm.
And so we start their soulful business is what I call it. And then once they're created, or for people, women that already have a business, it's helping them create their systems and processes and get everything simplified in the back end. I mean, I've worked with entrepreneurs for 10 years. I've seen it all behind the scene. So I know what needs to be done to organize and get things done, like get things, looking nice and clear and flowing in the back end. But also with that, we call in their spirit guides, and it's like, okay, what's the best marketing strategy for you? Let's call in the guides and work with them that way. We tap into the intuitive abilities to like get the downloads from their spirit guides, how they should be doing things, what should they be focusing on next. And of course, there's always the personal work that needs to be done because sometimes we get in our own way of moving forward, of
Absolutely.
making the decisions, of letting the abundance in. So we do the personal work as
Yeah.
through the process.
Wow.
So what I like to say is that I help businesses simplify and scale their businesses, because once you simplify the back end and do the personal work, then you're able to grow and scale.
Definitely. Wow. That's so good. And I know you do some inner child work too, right? Do you do
Yeah.
that with your clients also?
Yeah, absolutely. Many times part of what is keeping us blocked is this wounded child.
Mm.
It's these core wounds that we have from childhood that are showing up as limiting beliefs. They're showing up as imposter syndrome. They're showing up want to be seen. We don't allow ourselves to be visible, and so this is how it shows up in business. Like we don't market our stuff. We don't put ourselves out there. We don't share our gifts, our offers, our show up on social media. That's how it shows up.
Yeah.
Once
So
I don't
true.
know, procrastination, not going to meet people and network or do events or do the workshops to bring in that is all limiting beliefs. That is
Yeah.
all core wounds that we're carrying. So we
Mm.
got to do the work. We got to do the inner child work. We got to reparent ourselves. Work mindset. Things like
And sometimes we don't even know what it is. We think it's one thing and it's completely 180 degrees different.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's layers.
So many
There's
layers.
layers.
The onion.
Sometimes it's several things. We start peeling off one layer and we work on one thing. There's always more.
Yeah. Oh my
There's
gosh.
always more that shows up.
So, and then just finally here, I mean, we could talk for hours. I'd love to be on here for we'll have chapter 2. Well, just the final is for the woman that's listening who feels called to something more that just, doesn't know where to start or what for her to know. What's the first step that you would tell them to take today if they're just kind of lost in their head?
If you're feeling like there's something more, you're stuck in a job that you don't, or maybe you do love your job, but you need something more for yourself, something a little bit more soulful, something you want to explore, something a little bit different. I always tell people to really start exploring things. Mostly like, okay, what were the things that you love to do as a child? Kind of start going down a list of things, and I have exercises that I take people to. I like to, and that's why I created actually my starter path. It's a 5-step process that I take people through to start that path to starting a soulful business.
Mm.
And it helps them identify what their natural gifts are, what they're
Mm.
good at, what's already inside them. Because
Nice.
what we're here to do is already inside of us.
It
We
is.
don't really need to go out and look for what's out there. That little process, that starter path takes them through creating an offer, a simple, small, non-complicated offer to start with, simple ways to find clients, simple ways to get out there. You don't need a website. It's a very simplified way, proving to yourself, I can do something for myself. It's like those first little steps to start creating something of your own that you can do part-time, you can do as a side gig, and then from there explore it bigger. So
Yeah.
you can get that at bluechakrastudio.com/starter if that's
Great.
if that's something that you're interested in. But I find that most women in my age group, which in my 50s, like in midlife, this is the age when a lot of women start to kind of awaken to this now what question. Maybe we're empty nesters, maybe we're divorced, maybe we've been married to somebody for many, many years, and we're starting to kind of realize, wait a minute, what else is there? Is this it for me? Like, maybe we go back to, I had a dream once, and we start to kind of, it's a different stage of life. And astrologically, it's natural. It's natural for us to have this little kind of awakening. And so it's a perfect time to really explore, okay, let me check out. Let me check out what else is out there, especially if you have that feeling already. If you have that feeling already, trust that there's something inside of you that's trying to make its way out.
I love that. I said last question, but actually I do have one last.
Okay.
I always like to ask my guest at the end, usually, sometimes in the middle. You went through some stormy weather. And you went through where it was so rocky that you had your spiritual awakening. Could you just tell us how did you, because a lot of our listeners are deep in the storm. How did you find that inner light that you just trusted, that you just said, okay, I'm going to find it, and you found it when you were in the deep part of the storm, and you went through a couple storms that you shared with us, maybe the darkest of the storm. Is there anything that you can share with our listeners of maybe one or two things that you did or they could do right now?
So there's a couple of things. One of them for me was I just always had an inner knowing that I was going to figure it out, that things were going to work themselves out. I just always knew that there was a higher power that was always with me and that was always going to help me through. I don't know where this came from. I don't know if maybe this was came from my parents, from their resilience, but I always knew inside of me, well, I'm going to get to work. let's go. You know, like, what else am I going to do? So I've just always had inside of me, like, okay, here it is. What do we do? What do I do?
Yeah.
Guide me. Just tell me what to do. Hold me, show me. I just always, that was always from a very young age. So I would say to that person, to that woman who's struggling, whatever that higher power is for you, whether it's God, it's Buddha, it's your higher self, your soul, healed loved one, ask their help. Ask for help from the universe, whatever it is for you. Ask for the help, and answers, and the guidance. You will receive it if you're receptive to it. That's the one thing. The second thing for me, when I got older and really went through those really tough times, it was my children. They were my light. Oof, it made me cry. Oof. They were my light. That's why I say my sons have been my biggest teachers, and they really have been the catalyst to my spiritual awakening, because when push came to shove, if they hadn't been here, I don't know where I would be today.
Yeah.
There were days I didn't like it out of bed, but I knew there were two little boys waiting for me. So I got out of bed, struggling and all, put in a happy face, and just, once I dropped them off at school, cried. Not that I didn't cry in front of them, but I always allowed them to see that I was emotional, that it was okay to feel emotions, but I didn't want them to see me sad all the time.
Yeah.
So they were my light, especially once it came down to being my son's struggle. And it was like, it was almost like I was in part of the equation. It was like, and I remember telling this to myself, I'm going to leave no stone unturned. I tried everything, therapy, counseling, psychiatric drugs, church, prayer, energy, healing, meditation. If you told me to stand on my head for 3 days, I would have stood on my head for 3 days. I was going to try everything in my power to nurture him, to help.
And you did.
And that was my spirit guide.
Yeah.
It was my spirit guide's like, girl, wake up.
Yeah. We're here.
Yeah. and like this, seriously, that was like the ultimate, like, shake up. Like, come on, girl. Wake up.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability. And, the thing I love about doing podcasting, and this, you've been in this space for so long. If we help one person, it's worth it. You don't. You just don't. At just the right time. It pops up in somebody. Absolutely. Well, thank you, because I know there's going to be that one person that this hears and it resonates, or they send it to that person that needs to hear it today. And, when you're in the storm and you just, and you surrender, you just say, okay, what was working before didn't work. Right. I'm just, I kind of have the visual.
It isn't working, so show me the way.
Show me the way. I surrender. Yeah. Well, so beautiful. I know you're on it. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
That you do, and all the stories that you bring on, because you just never know who you're impacting. I met somebody over the weekend, live event and personal development, and she came up to me and said, because of you, I am here today, because I heard a podcast episode that you did on somebody else's podcast one. And
my gosh.
That's why I'm here today, because I was on the podcast of the woman that was putting on the event, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that to be the result of that conversation. So every story is touching somebody's life. So
that's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Have a beautiful dinner tonight. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
Wow, you look so good. You always do, but tonight you're just glowing.
With you.
You're amazing. And I want to thank my listeners. Thanks for being here, being loyal listeners, and to new listeners. We're always going to have new and great content. And thank you, Sonia, for everything you do. I love you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode and that you got to know me a little bit better. As mentioned on this interview, I do a Start a Soulful Business group coaching program. I run it once a year. So this year's is currently in progress. So the next one isn't going to run until 2027, most likely. So if that is something that you're interested in, as we mentioned a bit there, I help you tune into what your soul is here to do, gathering your gifts and the skills that you already possess, but also really getting in touch with what your soul's contract is, what you agreed to come into this lifetime to do. And that is your purpose. And so we tune into that. And then from there, we create this business. If you don't know what you want to do, but you think you want to create an additional stream of income, start a side gig, or eventually replace your 9 to 5, or maybe have something to bring in some income after you retire. Many women do that. Then get on the wait list, and that we help you figure out what to do with that. Even if you don't know what to do, we help you. And I say we because I do have another gal that works with me. She does astrology and human design. So based on your birth chart and your astrology and your human design chart, I should say, we can pinpoint exactly what you're here to do. And so there is no doubt left on the table. You will come out of this very, very clear as to what you're here to do. So if that's you, contact me, get on the wait list. You could go to bluechakrastudio.com and you can send me a message there, or you can also get on my email list so that you are notified when the next program it comes to fruition, opens the doors again. So I also have a soulpreneur starter roadmap that you can download for free if you want to at least start taking a look at that. This is a quick, it's 5 steps to help you define your gifts, to help you create a quick offer, and to help you start getting clients right away. So it's a quick little hit. It's a quick little roadmap that helps you start making money really quick with a quick offer. And that might be something that can get you started, at least until we have this group coaching program where you will have not only teaching modules every week, but also live coaching with me. You will have a one-on-one session with my astrologer and human design expert, and I will walk you through this whole process for 90 days to help you start a soulful business. So thank you so much for being here. And also I want to share that for the summer, I've opened up 2 spots for women who want to receive life coaching. So if this is you, get in touch with me at sonia@soniasays.com, or you can book a complimentary consultation with me at bluechakrastudio.com/consultation, completely free consultation. We will go over where you're at, where you want to be, and how we can potentially bridge the gap and see if we're a fit. This is for the woman who is going through a transition or is feeling stressed or overwhelmed and needs help and support in releasing that overwhelm and that stress. This is for the woman who's going through the transition and needs support through that, is potentially finding it a struggle to get through their kids' promotions and graduations. Many of us are becoming empty nesters. So if you're dealing through those emotional transitions of being a mother, I get you. I've been there. I was just speaking to a girlfriend the other day. Her child is 12 years old and just graduating, and she shares custody of her son. And so she says, the way I see it is there are 6 more years before he turns 18, which means that I only get him for 3 more summers because the other 3 summers he's with his father. So she's having a hard time with going through this transition. It's becoming very real for her that, wow, her babies are growing up, and she's just trying to figure out how to deal with it all. So we kind of went on a quick call and did some quick coaching on that. So that kind of stuff. If you're dealing through that, or finding that you are in a time of potential pivot in your career or in what you do for a living, or going through maybe some struggles within your relationship, whether it's your friendships or your partner. Any type of struggle and challenges that come up in that way is something that I can certainly help you with. Or maybe it's just that you want an accountability coach to help you stay on track, to help you set some goals, and to help you stay on track with that, whether it's an income goal or a weight goal or other goals that you're just trying to create for yourself, for your life. Let's talk. Let's talk and see how I can help you get there. Again, that's at bluechakrastudio.com/consultation to book that complimentary consultation. You have nothing to lose. You'll walk away with more clarity. If anything at all, you'll walk away with more clarity. Thank you so much for being here. Hasta la próxima, amigas.